What year is it? Where have I been? Disable that for the next launch. But what is up, guys? I'm gonna actually kind of not make a video game video because earlier my computer crashed, and yeah, that was overwarming, and yeah, let me just fix something. Doggo gonna appear. Na 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 na. Karaoke, more like I'm not gonna do it. Roki, yeah. So, oh god, okay. No, we don't want to sound loop back. Na 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 na. Na 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 ba ba. So what we're gonna do is actually work on ALiVE, which is a module for ArmA 3 that most people seem to be confused with setting up the way they want it. So there are three types of warfare: asymmetric, invasion, and occupation. They all have their own unique abilities. Asymmetric probably being my favorite, which is basically the best way I can describe it and compare it to is guerrilla warfare. So you basically would recruit people from your region and have them fight for you. But verbatim. I guess it's how you interpret it. Let me slap that on. So we're gonna be, and you're gonna join me on this because I was making a mission for the group I'm a part of, but I never got around to it because finals, and I'm gonna spend 2 hours on it tonight and probably 2 hours on it tomorrow. And then after that, I got nothing to do on Friday, so maybe I'll finish it up on Friday. And so what I'm gonna describe is the functionality of it, and the kind of flexibility of things. So I'm just trying to find us a good map that we can do that isn't Altis or Stratus, because I'm sick of those maps. Those give me the worst feeling of emptiness. So we're probably, well, we could put it on Takistan, but it's so weird. So we might put it on Takistan or maybe Zargabad. For example, let's just use Zargabad. I'll use this as an example. The problem with it, though, is that it's so small and compact that I'm afraid that it would crash my computer. I guess there's only one way we figure out, right? So, I'll describe it, all of it on one step. Or not one step, but the best to my ability without having to go look at a wiki. And we shall see. But, let me. So that there won't be that much gameplay involved. It'll just be me explaining, this is step one to how to be a cool kid, and kind of build your reputation to mission builders on this system. Ooh, hello, Frames, my old friend. We've come to meet again. The silence slowly creeping. Alright, okay. Why is my computer dorking up? Close that. I guess we can close. No, we'll leave Discord up. Why not? Close down things so I can get more speed for my computer. Oh well, I forgot I recently restarted it. See, all these programs open up in the background, and I'm just not okay with it. So the mods we're going to be using for this video are just RHS, and CBA, ALiVE, and even an enhanced editor. The mods that do require you to be or that are required to be downloaded. Oh, and cup. I forgot cup. Shit. But the mods that will be definitely required if I do use terrains like this, you will need cup terrains and cup terrains core. And if I place down anything from RHS, you would need RHS, USAF, or GREF, or AFRF, depending on which ones I use, asset-wise. And then you will need the ALiVE module and CBA, and if you don't have CBA and you try to run it without CBA, you're going to have a bad time. So we're actually going to open up a new one. We're going to keep it simple, stupid, and put it on maybe good old, I think everyone's sick and tired of Takistan. I don't blame them. That's the problem with maps for ArmA, is that they're so little. We're gonna put it on Cherno, why not? So we're gonna describe on how all this is gonna work, and we're gonna probably just set it up to a invasion versus occupation force. So the way I'm gonna set it up is the Marines are the invading force and the Russians are the occupying force. Because this is Trinaris, and oh my god, look at all them textures load in. Grids. 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 Just gonna let everything load up. I think, I'm sorry for the sound in the background. That's just me moving my chair, because I'm trying to get more comfortable. Because, let me tell you, I don't like sitting on chairs like normal people. I'm different, I'm weird, and I'm unique. Okay, why is everything... I'm just gonna fucking assume that I have a memory link. Alright, so usually the best way to start this off is by placing down the ALiVE required module. This is the first module you definitely want. Now, depending on your server, you can have AI distribution going out to the server, which I definitely don't recommend. I'd rather have it go out to headless clients, which is something my server has. And usually the server will detect if there's headless clients or not. If there are, it's going to distribute the AI to those headless clients to take stress off the server, so that way the server can run at its optimal performance and not drag down the player's FPS. This is optional. It's the ALiVE data module. Basically, if you want to keep mission persistence, you would get this, and you would get the @ALiVE server add-on, and I think it's one of the Windows one of the frame nets for Microsoft. But we're not going to use that. We're gonna let's say we just don't want our server to be persistent, because it's probably going to switch over. So ALiVE player options. This is up to you. Well, it's not really up to you. You have to have this down. So basically, there's player persistence. That means that saves all the data on that character, but that can only be saved by the player if they hit the Windows key and go to player persistence and save. But we don't care about storing the score. We don't care about the position. What we want to store is probably none of it, to be quite honest, because none of it really serves a purpose if we're not running a persistent server. And I don't see the point of it at all, because it's stupid to save on a multiplayer server unless you're constantly doing stuff. So this one, player tags, this basically shows a little icon above a player's head saying their name, rank, and group that they're in. I don't like that feature. I like my immersion. But we're going to kind of explain this to the best of my ability. So another needed module is the ALiVE virtual AI system. So what this is on the map you would see things like, here, let me go to the markers and we can just slap some down. You would see little icons like that on the map, and that's basically an AI group. Now, if it's on the map and it's like, let's say, a couple thousand kilometers away from you, where you can't see it, it will be virtualized, meaning it won't spawn until you have, some type of distance and within reach where it can spawn in. The way it works is that it's first come, first serve to the AI. So whatever group's there first is going to spawn there first. And that depends on the size of the group as well. So their spawn radiuses, I tend to keep this down for weak servers, and the active limiter, I just put that down to 80 because I feel I'm safer with that than 144. I'm never going to need 144 active AI running about. So the next thing is the spawn heli radius. That's up to the server and not to the server, but to the player and how they feel, because usually helicopters cover a lot of distance. Same with infantry, so that's fine where it is right now. The only problem with that you would probably ever run into that is if a helicopter goes into a completely different objective and it screws up everything and spawns in more. And that tends to happen a lot. If there's more than one player in different areas of the map, things will spawn and may cause server lag, but the server will try to reduce all that to the best of its ability, or just send more packets towards the to the server. I'm sorry, I may have just had a stroke. So we're going to worry about the civilian placement and civilian population module later. The first thing we're going to do is set up a area for Blue 4. our United States Marine Corps. We're probably going to start them off. Let's say, what's a good spot? What's a good spot? Come on. We'll say we navally invaded from over here, from Black Lake. Why not? And then we'll work our way on improving this to the best of my ability. Like I said, this is just a quick and dirty, easy tutorial, I guess. Quick, easy, and we're going to say we have Cravo style because I don't want enemy AI spawning there. We don't want that. That's a no-no. Probably also want that radio antenna and Ultra because we don't want things spawning where they shouldn't. So what you would call this marker is blue4 underscore or whatever you feel like calling it really, but I prefer to call it like blue4 underscore 1 to name it stuff because you know that's the way I remember it. You can make it any color. I like to color code my stuff, so it's going to be blue. And since it just has the name airstrip on this airfield, we're going to call it one of my favorite things. We're going to, what are we under, NATO? Yeah, we're under NATO. These vanilla flags, I'd hope they are. Alright, whatever. I'm just going to assume this is a standard NATO flag. So we're going to call this Texas Air Base because I hate everyone and I love you. So this marker will have no purpose. It's just here to name it for me because this airstrip has no name. Sorry. And then you're going to need an OPT4 location, which is probably going to be this airfield up here, the Northwest airfield. I'm not sure why I had to think about that. So we're going to put that right here. And we're going to cover it up. The best thing about this airfield is there's not that many towns to kind of really occupy. Or actually we might set up to asymmetric warfare. I don't know. The thing with if you do it like on like this, you have to set up a lot of grids towards each little independent zone. Like if I wanted Trinaris to be its own little area, I would have to set up a military out or a military objective and a civilian objective over here with like maybe 30 guys, maybe 60 at most. So you would have huge ass objectives like that. Tinier objectives with like 30 guys maybe. And then let's go ahead because we're just gonna copy and paste these suckers real quick. We're just gonna go ahead because this is gonna bother me and I don't like being bothered while I do it. So let's keep an eye on how many markers we have, and then we'll kind of remember how much we need to put. So small places like that, you can put civilian objectives and put like 30 guys in. But if it's like a really tiny guy like place like this one, might as well just put like 30 because that's the minimum you can put. So I mean, okay, well actually no, it kind of expands up here, but that's the problem with maps that people are like, oh, you should make ALiVE with this map and such, and it's like you realize that if you want the best experience, it's gonna have to be a pretty urban environment, and that's why I do generally get upset with people when they say, oh yeah, but that's different, you know, it's different, you know, they'll fight from the trees. They'll fight from the sea, land, bananas, and banana butts. And you're like, you just want to kind of like straggle them a little bit. Also, if you're watching this, go yell at Blue Drake 42 and tell him to give me that Project Reality Compass. I really want it. Thank you. So what we're doing is kind of cutting down. Actually, well, this could help me a lot more. So what we're doing is basically filtering out each town and kind of making it an objective for the OPT4 to like protect. We're going to go ahead and put this one here. So basically the more towns they have to protect, the more military forces they have. So the problem with that is that if you noticed, the towns are pretty small. And that's no bueno, right? No. It's no bueno at all. It's much not no bueno. And the worst part is I'm not really keeping count of how many things I'm putting down, purely for the fact that there's just so much items. It's like kind of like a supply and demand thing, you know. So we have actually reached 29 markers. We won't worry about naming them yet. That will be my own time. But I just kind of want to place these down for myself. And then I'll do all the work for that later. Because you know, it's Russia. You're invading Russia technically, so might as well just be occupied at that point. And then there's going to be that one guy that says, "Hey, that's pretty good." Alright, and I've actually really get frustrated with this part the most because there's just a lot of things you have to fix. Because the AI commander would be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's a little too much there, buddy. Lay off the zones," and then it will complain about having too little zones, and it's like, boy. I really wish our group would use the Open Chinaris project, but that requires more mods, and I don't blame them for not using it. So, I'm just gonna say 42 markers is enough. So each one's going to have its own corresponding military objective or civilian objective. Probably both, with 30 each. And I'm probably going to set up to where they can work with each city. So what we're going to do is place down a military AI commander, your best buddy, your best friend, your amigo. And we'll place him right down here. And then you have basically the military AI commander is your faction leader. He gives you orders and all that, depending. And like I said, there's the 3 types of warfare. There's intel, but that's asymmetric warfare, and we're not going to touch on that. Not until maybe later, way later. So there's reinforcement types, which is packets and seldom. So basically, that's how many reinforcements can arrive and at what speed can they arrive. And then there's military objective and civilian objective. So basically, that places objectives down for units to go towards. So, like for instance, we want to attack all the Op4 objectives. So we would attack all the Op4 objectives. We'll probably make this last 20 minutes before I end it. And then, now that we have that fellow down, we're going to put down another military high commander, and we're going to make it occupation. We don't need asymmetric roads, but the faction, we have to enter our own for a specific one, which I actually need to grab the file to, because I forgot his name, or not his name, but the faction's name, and yeah. I'm sorry for being a boring little potato, but I think this would help me get this out of the way and explain some things, and hopefully help you and help myself. So what we're going to do is we're looking at the Russian VDV, their version of the airborne. So we're going to override that faction with that, and let's just go ahead and call this Op41, why not? Op4_1, and that will be red. And then we'll also give it a military objective and civ objective. If we wanted to, we could give it IEDs and all that, but in this case, they're an occupying force and they're a strong force, so I don't think I need to give them IEDs. You can also give them close quarter battles, so that way they can occupy places like the airfield, etc. Just kind of basic stuff. So let's go. Blacklist marker basically stops those virtual AI groups going into a certain zone, like our airfield. We don't want them going there, so we'll go ahead and say, hey, we want our stuff, or this group, to stay here. And let's go ahead and make them Russian VDV, because you know, ich пересчета sabrumiat. Let's go ahead and blue4_1, and then op4_1. And then it's kind of like rinse, lather, repeat with most of the markers, or not markers, but some of the fill in the blanks. Sorry if I sound like I'm out of energy, I'm just stressed for tomorrow. And we'll save this as demo. That was loud. So, oh yeah, military logistics. Basically, this allows the AI commander to call on things to reinforce a group dynamically or statically. Usually I started off at 2,500, so that way both factions can have their ability to call in things that they need at whim. And so basically in this case we won't need that because we are placing down not units but objectives. Because we do not need people on our side. We just need ourselves. We are players. You know, we have control. Okay, so the next thing is you want to sync the Blue 4 mill objective and SIB objective to the Op 4's commander. This basically relays information towards both sides saying, hey, we need to attack this and that. And we'll do the same thing with the Op 4's mill and SIB objective with the Blue 4 commander. And then it's kind of rinse, lather, repeat. I think my camera's out of focus. Oh, we don't want another rectangle. No, please. I guess another thing I'll touch up on is the... Oh, I can't zoom in over there. Excuse me. The ambient dynamic weather. This is kind of way off from all that, but let's go down here. Just place it down here. Keep it organized. So what the ambient dynamic weather system is a dynamic weather system. Not the weather's not going to stay the same. In this case, we'll say this is continental, because that's what it would be. Or, you know, with things with this is that you can actually put real life weather locations, and the server will withdraw information from an area and you know, pertain it towards what it's like over there. So in a nutshell, it would kind of keep things varied, and I kind of like that. Let's put it up to 0.5. I don't think I need to explain that any more than I should. There's excuse me. Next we go on to civilian placement and population. Basically, civilian placement is where AI will be placed. For instance, we don't want them in blue 4_1, but we would want them in the out 4 objectives, that way we don't gun them down. And we want them to be placed on high and no ambient vehicles, because this is Trinar. It's a very rural area, in my opinion. This is the same thing as a virtual AI system, a spawn radius, spawn heli radius, and a active limiter. You can usually set up the roles of the civilian, and in this case we want blue force hostility to be extreme, and we want them to hate us, basically. We want them to kill us. Next module is the player command control, also known as C2I star. And basically this allows tasks to be given towards the faction. So basically I can do my job while the computer can do its job. We're actually going to go ahead and slide in the Blue Force faction while we're here. And then, so basically you would task both the invasion and occupying force to attack. And the trace system, I don't use it because it's pointless. Sector update time, that basically allows things on the map that you would see, like current events to be seen. We don't want to. Friendly coverage. No. Display map intel, yes. So that way we can see events on the battlefield. And I am beginning to sound like someone else I shouldn't. I'm a little concerned. Other than that, that's mainly the gist of ALiVE. It's not that hard to understand. There's more complex things, but people overthink it. And you just kind of fiddle around the settings to what best suits you. And it's not that bad, really. It's truly not, so don't be afraid of it. Go ahead and poke it with a stick if you want. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that will be all for this little session. I'm going to save the mission here, and I'm going to export it to myself and make sure that next time I stream this, you will kind of catch off in the little lesson. So thank you for being part of it. I love you. Kind of. I'll probably stream again, just something different. I don't like teaching them more than 25 minutes. Other than that, yeah, have a good day.